Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, and Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. I hope you all really have a fantastic long holiday weekend spent with all of your friends, your family, and your loved ones as safe as possible. And of course, I hope you all got what you asked for. I can tell you that the one thing that college football fans did not ask for was for the Belk Bowl to be renamed to the Duke's Mayo Bowl. What a horrible, horrible name for a bowl game, but who knows? Maybe you have some Duke's Mayo at the table for your Christmas feast. But we've got a bowl game coming up here in a few days. Wake Forest, Wisconsin, and the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Horrible name, but we're going to predict it anyways. An ACC Big Ten matchup, and we're here to break down everything you need to know about this one. You look at both these teams, they have put together impressive bowl streaks. Both these teams are 500. Wake Forest 4-4, Wisconsin 3-3, so neither a very impressive season. But what they've done over the past few years has been impressive. The Demon Deacons are making their 5th straight bowl game. That's a school record for Wake Forest. Wisconsin, they've made a bowl game every year since 2001. They're making their 19th straight bowl game. That's a very impressive streak in and of itself. But what's even crazier is that Wisconsin needs to win this game to avoid their first losing season since 2001. So let's think about that for a second. 19 straight bowl games, haven't had a losing season since 2001. This game is crucial for the Badgers. So we're going to break down the offense, defense, keys to the game, and of course who we have winning, whether Wake Forest or Wisconsin will finish a wild 2020 season with a winning record. Let's start with the Demon Deacons on the offensive side of the ball. When we came into this year, assuming it was going to be a normal year, we looked at this and said Wake Forest might struggle offensively because they lost so much, but their defense, that's going to be enough to carry them. And it's been the exact opposite. The defense has been horrible. The offense has been great. The Demon Deacons are averaging 37 points per game. They're extremely balanced, 265.8 passing yards per game, 169.5 rushing yards per game. And we did know that back when Jamie Newman decided to transfer to Georgia and ultimately opted out this year, but when he left Wake Forest, we knew Sam Hartman was going to take over as that new quarterback. And I was telling everybody, no need to fear. Sam Hartman has starting experience with Wake Forest. He's going to fit in just fine. He's done just that. Hartman throwing for over 1,900 yards, 10 touchdowns to just 1 interception this year. And he has his go-to wide receiver in Jakari Roberson, 795 yards and 5 touchdowns on the year. So you got a dynamic duo there in the passing game. Obviously the strength for this Demon Deacon squad. And they can put up points, and they can put them up in a hurry. Wake Forest has scored 38 points or more in 5 of their 8 games so far this season. Doesn't mean they've won all of them, but they can put up some points. Wisconsin, you want to look at them, they're a struggling offensive team, and they've struggled a lot as of late. It's kind of wild how drastic of a change and how drastic a difference of the two halves of the season has been for Wisconsin. The Badgers are averaging just 22.3 points per game. In their first 2 games against Illinois and Michigan, the Badgers put up 94 points. They put up 94 points. Graham Mertz was looking like a superstar. This Wisconsin team did look like a legitimate Big Ten title contender, maybe even a playoff contender. Well, after that, in their final 4 games, they mustered just 40 points. So they scored 94 points in their first 2. They scored 40 combined points over their final 4. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. Coming into this one, the offense is a little beat up. In their season finale victory over Minnesota, Graham Mertz got put out with an injury. He should be back for this game. They were without a couple of their top wide receivers, a couple of their top running backs, a couple of offensive linemen. We expect a good number of those players to be back, and that includes Graham Mertz, as we mentioned. The freshman phenom that started off hot and has kind of petered out. Over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions this year. Mertz got to do a better job of taking care of the football. But we all know that Wisconsin's not a pass-happy team. We know that Wisconsin, for years now, they want to bully you up front with their run game. That is the key for Wisconsin. And let me tell you, Garrett Groshek had himself a game in that finale against Minnesota. 154 yards and a touchdown for Groshek. He's going to lead, I believe, a core of 3 capable running backs into this Mayo Bowl, leading a Wisconsin offense that's averaging 171.7 rushing yards per game. So we know Wisconsin wants to bully you up front. They're a run-first team, and that's good. That's good for them. Because Wake Forest defense, as we mentioned, they've been very lackluster. And they've been very lackluster against the run. The Demon Deacons are allowing 191 rushing yards per game, and they're going to be without one of their top defensive linemen in Carlos Basham, who has decided to opt out of this bowl game, opted out at the end of the year to prepare for the NFL draft. And he is certainly going to be a steal in the NFL draft. 5 sacks this season has been the force and the leader up front for this Demon Deacons front seven, for this Demon Deacons defense. You look at their running defense over the course of a few games this year. The season finale to Louisville, a bad Louisville team. They allowed 254 rushing yards to the Cardinals. They allowed 192 rushing yards to North Carolina. An absolute shootout. Both teams scoring well into the 50s in that one. The Demon Deacons are allowing 31.6 points per game. They've allowed at least 35 points in 4 of their 8 games. So in half of the games they've played, they've allowed 35 points or more. It's non-existent. The defense is non-existent. They have shown flashes of brilliance here and there. For the most part, Wake Forest defense has been consistently bad. And that 191 rushing yards per game, guys, that mark is concerning going up against such a run-heavy team in Wisconsin. We look at Wisconsin's defense, we know they're good. We know that even though they're 3-3 right now, even though this has been a disappointing year by Wisconsin standards, and obviously a wild year for them, so many games being canceled or postponed due to COVID-19, their defense still remains one of the best in the Big Ten and up there is one of the best in the country. The Badgers are allowing just 15.7 points per game. And you look, we criticize them. The last 4 games, they've mustered 40 points. There's no offense. And you would say that's okay because in a way their defense is allowing many points either. So I think that's the unfortunate thing is that Wisconsin this year hasn't had the offense to complement how great of a job their defense is doing. The most points Wisconsin has allowed in their 6 games this year is 28. That was in a 28-7 loss to Iowa. The second most points they allowed this year was 17. You know how many teams in the country would kill to say, yeah, the most points we've allowed this year is 28 and our second best is 17? That's really, really dang good. But unfortunately, Wisconsin losing the majority of those games. The Badgers are allowing just 93.7 rushing yards per game. And so Wake Forest, I think you can go ahead and forget about trying to run the ball in this one. Forget about trying to win this game on the ground. It's going to be the Sam Hartman show. He's going to have to air it out. He's going to have one of the better performances of the year if the Demon Deacons want to win this game. The Badgers are allowing 169.8 passing yards per game. So that's nearly 100 yards less than the average that Wake Forest is putting up offensively. So the Badgers own the defensive edge, and none of it really benefits Wake Forest in any way. There's not one stat I'm looking at with Wisconsin here that says, all right, Wake Forest can exploit that. So Dave Clawson and his squad, they're going to have to come up with something creative to go out there and find some way to generate movement, generate some solid drives offensively against this Wisconsin defense. Again, even though the Badgers have struggled over the last few games, the game against Minnesota was 20-17. The game against Northwestern was 17-7. So the offense is struggling. Wake Forest is going to be happy about that, but in turn, Wake Forest probably isn't going to be able to put up many points of their own. Could be a low-scoring game out in Charlotte. What are going to be the keys to the game in this one? Look, we've broken it down, and by statistics, you can say Wake Forest owns that offensive edge, Wisconsin owns that defensive edge. What is going to give here? Who is going to break first? And we could say that, but I want to break things down a little bit deeper. First thing you need to look at for Wake Forest, if they want to win this game, is they have to make every drive count. And again, you might say, well, obviously, we got to make every drive count. No one ever has an intention to do a drive and not come away with points, but that's not exactly what I mean. Wisconsin has dominated the time of possession this year. And that is so, so crucial. They've dominated the time of possession, and that's to be expected when you have such a run-heavy team and a defense that's constantly forcing 3 and outs. The Badgers, on average, are holding the ball for 36 minutes and 45 seconds. So they've owned the time of possession 36:45 to 23:15. So they're holding the ball for well over half of the game, meaning that their opponents normally do not have many opportunities to go down there and score. So if Wisconsin wakes up, starts putting some points on the board, every drive for Wake Forest is going to count because they're probably not going to have that many over the course of the entire game, unless their defense steps up and gets some quick 3-and-outs or forces a few turnovers. Another key for Wake Forest, stop the run. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about that. They're averaging or allowing nearly 200 rushing yards per game. You know Wisconsin, that's their strength. You know that's where they're going to go to 9 times out of 10. If you shut it down, Graham Mertz, assuming he is back, he's been shaky. He's been inconsistent lately. He's showing that he still is a freshman and still has a ways to go. If you take away that run game and make him win it through the air, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. Wisconsin, the biggest thing I have for them, the biggest key I have for the Badgers is to try to spread the field with Graham Mertz. So we mentioned, they're a run-heavy team, but you got to mix it up a little bit. And if Wisconsin can spread the field and use the entire field with a competent passing attack, something they haven't had in so long, it's going to make life very difficult for Wake Forest. Again, their rushing defense isn't great. Their passing defense is very, very vulnerable. And I'm saying that if you can spread the field with Graham Mertz, if you can get a couple solid passes out there, you're going to make Wake Forest is going to have to realize we can't just solely hone in on the run. We can't solely hone in on the run. We've got to prepare for the pass. And if you pass just enough, you're going to set up the run here. You're going to set up the run, and you have a chance to see Wisconsin return to their old form. You have a chance, if they can spread the field like they did against Illinois, like they did against Michigan, you can see Wisconsin return to that form like we saw in their first 2 games. A team that looked like a Big Ten title contender. A team that looked like a potential playoff contender. A team that absolutely deserved to be in the top 10. That's what they need to do. Get Mertz involved, start passing a little bit more, setting up that run, make sure you're not one-dimensional. So what is going to happen in the Duke's Mayo Bowl? Never going to get old. What's going to happen in the Mayo Bowl out in Charlotte? Well, let me tell you this. Wisconsin always plays well in bowl games under Paul Chryst. Wake Forest, they always play well in bowl games under Dave Clawson. Both have played extremely well as of late. But I'm telling you that we're going to have to pick the Badgers in this one. We're going to have to pick Wisconsin in this one. The Badgers are 4-1 in bowl games under Paul Chryst. They don't care if they're playing in a New Year's Six bowl game or if they're playing in the Mayo Bowl. They're going to go out there, play their style of football, and they're going to beat you while they do it. Wisconsin has the defensive edge. They should be able to dominate the line of scrimmage. You take Carlos Basham off that defensive line for Wake Forest. You look at how well Wisconsin has dominated the line of scrimmage for the majority of this year and how bad Wake Forest has been playing defense this year. I believe that the Badgers are going to simply be too physical up front. I do think Wake Forest plays better than they did in their season finale against Louisville. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But Wisconsin, hopefully being fully healthy in this one, should be able to take care of business. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be a giant blowout, but I do think that the Badgers can win this game relatively comfortably if they can play their style of football. And judging from the numbers and from the recent performances from Wake Forest, I believe that Wisconsin can do just that. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And also make sure to check out everything down in the description below. We have got exclusive Gridiron Expert merchandise for you guys to purchase to continue to support our channel. It's some of the best stuff out there. We've got like 20 sweatshirts over here, so we're so pumped about that. Check it out. Check out our Patreon account. Check out our expert picks and our newsletter on our website, thegridironexpert.com. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Again, have a very Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Enjoy it. And we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.